Hey guys, it's Angel, welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at the latest aircraft from Aeroplane Heaven. This is the Grumman F3F-2, also the last of the carrier biplane fighters. Now here is the Gulfhawk one, and as you can see here, we have a number of carrier liveries from this aircraft in its service at a very kind of interwar years, towards the start of the Second World War. They weren't really used in the Second World War that much, as far as I'm aware. However, originally built 1934 as the F3F-1, it had a Pratt & Whitney R1535, which later, I believe, was using the Wright Cyclone, which was the 1936 version. The Navy ordered 81 of them in 37, and they were basically the development program for the later generation of monoplane fighters, leading to the F4, of course. You can see a lot of similarities, especially the gear in that regard. Now, also known as the Flying Barrel, it was a joy to fly. It was fast, strong, and agile. Very aerobatic, actually. And they actually managed to dive them to 400 miles an hour in test flights, which is kind of crazy. It was a mainstay fighter for frontline squadrons of the Navy and Marine Corps throughout 1939 and the early days of the Second World War. And, like I said, many features ended up becoming part of what would become known in the Wildcats. So a total of 140 were still on squadron strength at the outbreak of hostilities, and they stayed and believed in service as combat trainers until 1943. So let's take a look at this aircraft, shall we? So that's us on the sod-off objectives. I keep turning these things off, but the sim keeps wanting me to turn them on again. Thank you, Microsoft. Just what I wanted to see. So the modelling, as always with Aeroplane Heaven, is lovely. Gotta say, the engine detailing is nice. And this gear, being very unique design, is rather nice. I do like the old school rubber on these tyres. Let's do our brake check. Not bad. Decent. Overall modelling is good, and shush. I always turn these settings off every single time I actually fly. And for some reason the sim keeps thinking I want them on. Go away. Bagel off. No. Go away. Thank you. So this is, of course, the personal aircraft, I believe, owned by the Gulf Oil Company, which is Mr. Al Williams. So there you go. That's his personal little one. As we'll take a look inside and see what she's like now. I swear to God, I am going to beat a child. I'll be right back. Okay, here we are in the cockpit of the F3F, and they've done a decent job with this. I quite like what we've seen here. Now, detailing is good. These spotlights here can be clicked and dragged and moved where you'd want them. It's going to be an interesting experience to do so, but you can obviously do that as you need. Now, I like the little addition of a little playing card picture behind the panel. It's quite a nice feature there. Gun charging lever, of course, don't do anything because the guns don't function here. There's a cocking lever. Now, canopy should be this handle right here. Nice and simple, just clicks and opens. Let's go about starting this up, shall we? I'll turn my head tracking on here. Let me just reset this to position so it actually knows where I'm looking. There we go. Okay, so battery on, and that's master battery as well. Now, there's a click spot about here, which is our starter selection, electric or shotgun cartridge. We'll go for shotgun cartridge, which I believe is this little knob here. That's our selector, shall we say. So fuel. We'll set to main, which I think we're on now. So let's set our mixture to here. Low RPM. Throttle cracked. And we'll hit the primer. Unlock it with a roll of the mouse wheel. And then pull it. I swear these tool tabs will literally be the death of me. Let's set the prop there. Okay, we are good to start, I believe. Everything else is set as it should be. So here, we flip the cover. And for the shotgun cartridge start, we just hit it, and it should work. So I may actually have to hold it again, because it did say you just click it once for the shotgun starter, but you hold it for the actual full starter on the actual electric system, because you can select between the electric and manual starts. Okay, my fuel selector does appear to be wanting to be a little bit weird. Right, there we go. We actually may have actually had a fuel starter this time. Let's switch it to electric, shall we? And see if we get better luck with this. Come on, give me a start. Now, you can also Control E this aircraft, but they do recommend you hold Control E down until it starts. Okay, that should be us selected to main tank. Fuel is in. We know that much. Let's prime it again just to make sure we actually have got some priming in there. Okay. Ah, max. There we go. That would often help, I find. I'm so used to doing it on my actual Honeycomb Alpha that I forget this sometimes. Hold that in. There we go. Cover that up. Lock that. Now this is quieter than the previous Aeroplane Heaven aircraft, I will say. I'm actually genuinely surprised. Wow. Quieter than I would actually expect by a considerable margin. Okay. So we have the engine started. We are good to go in that regard. So let's bring our prop to full fine. Pull the throttle back here. Now the parking brakes are on. Let's release that. There we go. Okay, we are good to go. Now those are the actual brakes down here, which is going to be a fun experience to pull those things. Right, let's get this baby rolling, shall we? Let's just adjust my position a tiny bit. And let's taxi ourselves out to the runway here. Overall impression so far, I quite like it. It's different, it's quirky, and it's a fun little plane. But we'll get to see how it takes off. Ground handling so far seems completely fine. In fact, we'll crack this for our takeoff and departure. The engine note sounded very good for a second there. It seems a little hollow, but maybe we'll see when they actually throttle up. Ooh, I'm getting rich notes there that could be interesting. Okay, so ground sound is a little rattly and poppy. See, Aeroplane Heaven seems to have swung from very, very loud and ridiculously crazy ear-popping sounds to overly quiet. It seems like they've kind of hit a... They've not quite hit the soft spot yet in the middle between the two. Okay, looking good. Good visibility here for checking your approach angles. Now, they do say it can be a little bit spicy on takeoff roll. Never taken off in this yet, so we're going to find out for the first time together exactly what this does. Oh, tail wheel lock. Right, let's give it a go. Oh, yep, I'm overcorrecting. There we go. It's not too bad. Okay, I was overcorrecting a bit much. Notice we're already off the runway there. Okay, these engine sounds do seem very muted. It seems like always a criticism I have with Aeroplane Heaven aircraft is the sound. Normally they are ridiculously loud. This one sounds too quiet. Maybe slightly tinny. Like, I'm not sure what it is with radial sounds, but it just sounds slightly like you're hearing it from behind a hangar. Does that make sense? I think so. Looking good. So behaviour in the aircraft is actually quite nice so far. She will roll. Not very quickly, but she'll roll. Oh, gear's down still. That would be a good start. Let's actually pull the gear up. This is a fun mechanism here because we have to not only do How do I take you off? There we go. There we go, gear coming up. And that should be, yep, cranking our gear in. That's going to make the aircraft a little bit more sprightly, isn't it? As I somehow reset my eye point to above the aircraft. Let's push our nose back down here. Bit of trim. The sim decided it really did not like existing for a moment there. So the aircraft's very responsive from what I'm seeing so far. It's definitely nimble, it's well behaving. I'm not seeing any particular tendencies of strangeness from it. The flight model seems good, and obviously the glaring orange of this is the civilian variant, so it's not going to be like this for the military versions, but obviously the interior is the same in general. I quite like it. I'm glad they didn't make you have to actually remove that piece of elastic from the switch. Although I do love the kind of interwar years bodging of, here, have some elastic on your gear selector. Although I believe you hooked it up so it couldn't drop down and unlock them by accident. Obviously I can't fire the guns, that's unfortunate. This is our tail hook here. Which I don't believe is fitted to this variant. And if it is, it's not coming down. Nope, not fitted to this variant. Oh well. There's our airport. Let's make our approach here and set up for landing. So let's pull the speed back here as we are passing 200 knots. I must say with head tracking it makes you feel a little confined here in the cockpit, but not in a bad way. But you definitely feel like you're inside something quite small. And the birdcage style canopy does make visibility a little bit more difficult. But this is something all these aircraft of this era so I had to deal with, so it's a historically accurate part. Let's work out if I can put the gear down. Okay, yes, locking pin there. Pull the pin out, drop the gear down. There goes the gear. Gear is down. And... no, that's our blower control. We didn't want that in. We do, however, want to pick some speed up here. There's the runway. Bank off this way a little bit just to open things up. And we'll set ourselves up for the approach here. Now, being a tail dragger and one with semi-poor forward visibility and no flaps, you are going to be a bit careful, but it is a biplane, so it has got plenty of lift to the aircraft. So let's try and manage our speed a little bit better here. We'll bring around for base leg and then set up for final. Can't see the airfield because of the canopy. In fact, let's open that, shall we? Much better visibility. Okay, gear down and locked. Runway in sight. Roller on to heading here. There we go. I'm going to use a little bit of a trick here. And just put myself in a bit of a crab on my approach so I can see the runway a lot better out the side of the cockpit window there. Oh, that engine sounds nice now. Maybe I'm just getting used to being able to hear an engine sound from Aeroplane Heaven that isn't trying to murder my eardrums. But, oh, it's throaty when you get it up into the range. Okay. Runway is still in sight. We're a little bit quick, actually. Close the throttle there. Oh, we bounced. Oh, there we go. Dab of toe brake, just to keep us straight. Tail wheel's still locked, of course. Yeah, this is daunting to land. That nose is very high. You've got a very short body on this aircraft, and all of a sudden, a very, very high nose. And you'll learn where that point is of the touchdown and the approach speeds. I was fast coming in there, and I was more focused on actually coming in with this bit of a crab, so I could, voice crack, see the runway as I was coming in. So that's more on me. Let's actually stop here a second. Unlock that, which should allow us to taxi back to the apron. So what are my very quick impressions of this aircraft? The sounds are growing on me. They do sound a little potty at low RPM. That is definitely something. And even at higher RPM. Well, don't do that. Yeah, don't just accelerate randomly. That's a really bad idea. They're a little potty. Everything sounds a little tinny in distance. It seems like they've swung too far to the quiet side. There's a lot of richness to these sounds that sound phenomenal. And I can tell there's some amazing sound in there, but whatever they've done to them, they've over-quietened them, I think, to the point where it's kind of gone too far in the opposite direction. Let's keep my eyes out the side here. It's kind of got a bit too quiet in the opposite direction, rather than being too loud, it's now a bit too quiet. But there's a lot of tonality there, and I think they could fix that. There's definitely some really nice moments in the sounds. The aircraft is simple to understand in terms of its starting procedure and its operation. A little complicated in a flight sim, of course, where you haven't actually got two separate hands to mess with, which allows you to make things a lot easier. But you do still have a good experience. So let's just pop this off, and we'll head outside again. What do I think of the old Gulf Hawk and the F3F-2 itself? €30 purchase price, so typical price from Aeroplane Heaven. It's a fun little plane. It's a trinket, for sure. It's not something I'd want to do long distance flights in, but it is still good. A very enjoyable little aircraft. In fact, you do, of course, have ADF down here, and you've got Navcom Radios there. So you actually have got radio functionality. Now, as far as I know, you only have one of each. Oh, you click on the spot there, and here you go. ADF radio and head. We can probably make this disappear if they've put a click spot in. I don't think they actually have. That would be awkward, but you can move that out of the way. You have ADF functionality, glide slope, and nav and comm radios. So you do actually have some modern functionality, more than a real one would, if you want it, and it's done in a very subtle, realistic way, I think. I like this. I think it's a good plane. Is it something I'll fly every day? Not sure, but it is nice. So let's give it a score of... The sounds are a bit too quiet, but there's definitely potential there. The modelling is nice. The flight behaviour is very nice. I will give this a 7.5 avs. Yes, we'll give it 7.5 avs out of 10. Yeah, not bad. I quite like this. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.